How to make your sweatbands out of socks that are awesome. To be fair, we have various socks here to choose from, so I chose my favorite. That's why you'll see there are 3 or 4 pairs of the actual Spider-Man here cut apart on the work table. Absolute joy to film too, because these are so colorful and they're really easy gifts to make and also mail, and I don't know anyone who would say no to it, especially as far as the running community goes. Would you wear it to a wedding? Probably not, but they do fit everyone, so I don't know if you can go wrong with these sorts of things. It's just incredibly simple to make. I do have a sewing machine displayed in the back, but doesn't mean you have to use one for this. Yes, there it is. There it is again. There is the sewing machine. So, on your work table, you can see I've got laid all over the place. I've got each different sock style laid out. There are, of course, many different ones you can use. And if you're like me, you can also recycle all your bobbins and spools at the end of the day. I like to keep track of how many I've used up while sewing the different projects. So I chose a Spider-Man one, and going to the top of the sock as well as the bottom, the intention is to cut off the ribbing. That way we're not interfering with any of the pre-sized, predetermined measurements produced and manufactured. It's not necessary to have those for this. And a fun way to deal with the fringe and the fuzzies that come off of this is just to make sure you either hand sew it down, you can fold it over and glue it. There are so many tutorials on YouTube about how to do this. This one, if you want to keep, yes, all we do is cut. Job done. You could cut the top too, which I did. These are pretty fun to use as hair scrunchies too. I use them to keep my ponytail in place, which means you get a little bit of the fandom logo in place as well. And there's no amount to how this will fit just about anyone, so it's pretty much one size fits all no matter the size of sock that you purchase. There are very few people that I know of that wouldn't be able to put one of these on and wear it. It is nice how the cuff of the sock folds itself, however I did find that the heel of the sock did interfere with the actual wearing of the sock afterwards. You can trim it, you can fold it back, you can stitch it, you could do a blanket stitch. There is definitely ways to do so with this. There are techniques that could involve finishing it with elastic and folding it over to make it very professional, or making it lined by putting 2 socks together, which would make it denser and more absorbent. I chose mine from the dollar store, so you don't have to break the bank on this, but if you save the label, you can also use it to gift the actual item when you're done. I used a lot of toddler socks, infant socks, just some of the smaller youth-size socks. I guess I shouldn't say that they were all toddlers. There were a few adult-sized socks as well that I included. It depends where you purchase your socks from and the style and design. Again, this one I just pretty much cut straight across. Very, very simple. Nothing too magical there. If you also do a lot of writing in school, this can keep your hand from sticking to the paper as you write notes all day. I did tailor it. And you can tailor it to your own arm too, once it's done, just to try and fit it. So that was it for the pink pair. Then I took the green, did exactly the same thing, matching it to what I did for the pink. I did not bother to trim the edges of this. I did want to make sure that the sweatbands were going to be functional and something that I could use while out running. Again, just trimming it down, making sure that it matched the design that I was needing, making sure that it would fit me or an adult if I would be the one wearing it. You have to match to the person you're making it for. If it's for a child, you'll have no problem fitting this. If you make it for a parent, make sure to know the measurement of the wrist before you go about matching the size of the sock in case you do get one that's too small. If this is the case, you can always cut them apart down one side of the sock and use 2 to make one band so that they are wider and thicker for when you're out running. And you can see I had quite a group going by the end of this. There were quite a few runners I had in mind who would be wearing these. quite a few people with different forms of exercise. Mostly it was runners, but there are people who do enjoy bits of sock, sweatbands for different activities. Badminton is one, as well as people who wear gloves. Sometimes gloves for occupation reasons aren't tall enough, so if you use a sock armband underneath, you can extend the cuff of a glove, which does allow for it to be a little bit more snug and a little bit more protective if you're out gardening, etc. Same can be said if you have allergies that you tend to suffer from. And if you look in the bottom left, you can see the rows of pairs I set up. Some of these were to mail and ship to friends. Some of these were to keep in my own running gear drawer. You know, everybody's got their million pairs of shorts and pants and shirts, and now I had a million pairs of socks to go with each of those. I also had my little scraps pile, and some seamstresses save their threads for the birds to use in their bird's nest. I'm of the thought that maybe they can use fabric scraps as well. And if you look at the top here, there's also a sneak peek of a rock climbing chalk bag, which is at the very, very top. It's the purple thing. It was made out of a backpack, and that is another video to come. And seeing here the final product, all the pairs of armbands and socks, such happy little pairs. Best thing is you can mail these little things. It doesn't cost very much if you've got people that need them. It does not take terribly much to produce these things. And you can send them around and share them with your friends and family for literally only a couple dollars. Depending on where you live, of course, sending these around to your friends and family will only cost you about $1 for postage. In the States, it'll be about 80-some cents. In Canada, oversized will of course cost you more. Thanks for watching this DIY about stuff out of stuff.